Hello, we're back. Happy 2018. It's a new year. It's a new life. Everything's amazing in 2018. Very excited to be back. Hope everybody had an awesome New Year's. Hello, new people. If you're coming for the first time, welcome to the chat. And I must say my apologies. There were some scheduling problems we had last 2 weeks. My mistake, please. I hope you're not too angry. Please come back. I love you. I miss you. And I need you. So please don't leave me. I'm going to be back. We're going to be better this year, better than ever. And we're going to be on time from now on. You got my promise on that. So I'm very sorry about that. Didn't mean to be, but there's a little bit of a scheduling snafu we had. So sorry. But we're back. I'm back. You're back. Welcome back in 2018. Another exciting year. And keeping it smart, as always. Hello, everybody. Let's do a few shout-outs, see who's in the chat today. Wellington, hello. Gilmara, hello. Osvaldo, thank you, Osvaldo. I appreciate that, buddy. Jefferson, hello from Brazil. Mengs, for first time from Israel. Welcome to the chat. Jaffe, Havana. Gertrudis, hello. Happy New Year to you. Awesome, everybody can hear me. Good. Cesar, we're ready to go. You're ready to go. I appreciate you staying up late. If it's already after 12 o'clock, yeah, about 9 hours ahead. I think you guys are in Italy, right? So thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you staying up late. Hello, Ricardo from Aruba Island. That sounds tropical and awesome, Ricardo. I'm glad you're here from your island. Mohammed, good morning. El Musawi, Mohammed, good morning. Hello from Korea. Hello. Oh, we haven't had many Koreans in the chat. Welcome. Annyeong. All right, Ahmed, I'm doing good, buddy. Feeling strong in 2018. Ready, coming back. It's the comeback. We're ready to go. Russia, we got a nice mix today. We got students from around the world. We love that. This is how we do it. Keep it international. Morocco, oh, nice, buddy. Okay. Hello, Bisma. How are you? Awesome. Welcome back. All right, guys. Awesome. So here's what we're going to do today. I've already thrown the stuff we're going to be working on today. Let me just throw this up and show you kind of what we're going to be doing. Where did I go? Here I am. Okay, so what we're going to be working on today in your Smrt. So I'm just going to show you where we're going to be. So we're going to be doing English 120 today. And what we're going to be working on is talking about the future. You know, it's 2018. Why don't we talk about what's going to be happening this year? All the excitement that's going to be happening this year. And if you go down to unit number 5, which is about fashion also, we're going to be looking at these two futures here. So if you want, you can open up this document. We're going to come back to this document later. But as for the other document that we're going to be working on is this one here. And I've shared a copy with you. You know my system if you've been here before. But what you can do, I'll put it in the chat. Please make a copy of this because that's what we're going to be working on today. And we're going to be doing, because I know you guys are pretty good. I've been with you guys for a little while. I know you guys, you've seen the future before. But now we're going to mix it all up and we're going to give you a little extra harder practice together where you're going to have to use different kinds of future for different situations. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And we'll use it. We can talk about it. So why don't we start? I like a good warm-up. Warm-ups are important. So let's do a question of the day. And the question of the day is with a small u. The question of the day is, what plans do you have for 2018? Okay, so this is the question, the very important question, because it's a new year. We have to think about these. We have to think about what we're going to do. What's the big plan for this year? So can you guys please give me a few answers? Throw them in the chat. We'll talk about them. You guys will be able to see them. What kind of things do you have planned for 2018? Is it work? Is it travel more? Is it make more money? Tell us a few of your plans, and we can go, and this will build perfectly into the future that we're going to be talking about. Future simple better? Yeah, pretty much we're going to be working in the simple today. The continuous, I almost think it's a better thing that you study separately just to get some practice. So perhaps the next time we can focus more on the continuous because there are some differences, right? It can be a lot. So I figure let's just focus on the different kinds of future that we use in English. And that should be a good start. So what are your plans for 2018? Working hard. Gabriella says she's going to be smarter and work harder. Well, that's two good plans. Awesome. Or maybe be smarter, work less hard. That could be good too. Johnny says improve my English. That's the answer, Johnny. Of course, everybody plan to improve my English. Good. Osvaldo says get a good grade in university. Also a good plan. Amazing plans here. Learn to play the saxophone. That's very specific. Shofi, but yeah, cool, man. To learn, and you're never too old to learn a new instrument. Maybe learn the piano or something at a late age. Why not? Challenge yourself. Gilmar says, improve my English in a high level and go to an English country for it. Okay, lots of ambitions there. Chug alcohol from the blender. Wellington, it's the best, worst answer I've heard all day today. That's amazing. Mung says, I get a chance to fly to Canada from Israel as a citizen of Canada. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Fly to Canada from Israel as a citizen. Okay, so you become a citizen, Mungs? Is that what's going on? Muhammad says, be in good religion. Ahmed says, my plan is to be perfect at English in 2018, and I hope to achieve that. Perfection, that's pretty tough, but I think if you get to a high level, that's going to be enough for you. I don't know. Accents are cool. You don't want the perfect English accent, because accents are cool. It makes for a more interesting conversation if they don't know where you're from. Gertrudis says, my plan in 2018 is improving my English, I think. Canadian colleges in Vancouver. All right, well, there you go. So you're coming here. Is that the plan? That's a good plan. Ricardo, level up my English and go to America. And Bader says, I will succeed my first year in college English studies, losing weight. Okay, never changed ever, always the same plan. Yeah, so awesome. Good to have plans for 2018. What do I have planned for 2018? I want to travel. You know, I didn't actually take a vacation this last year. Last year I went to Brazil. Went to Brazil, and that was amazing. So I think I got to travel more. I work on enjoying myself, maybe a little bit too much. I think I'm going to travel more, and that's going to be my plan. Judith says, I'm going to see my relatives in Europe. Awesome. Yep, combine. Good plan. Improve English. Get command. Okay, so you guys who are here to improve your English, I hope everyone's here to improve. That's what we're going to work on today. So we're going to jump in. Hello, Pilar. Hello. We're going to work on this. We're going to jump in to here. So like I said, we're going to come back here. We're going to come back once we go into the explanation. But for now, let's start here. You're right. Better. I've actually got Morocco on my list of places I want to visit. So I'm coming. I just don't know when I'm coming. Morocco and Turkey sound good to me. I like to go to both those places. All right. So this is what we're going to get into today. The future. Yay. Okay. Some of it good, some of it bad. So let's talk about both. Can I make this bigger? I'd like to make that bigger. Let's see if I can do that. All right. That's a little better. All right. So here we go. So let's start. We're going to start. Oh, I can never highlight. Let's start with number one. I'm going to highlight this. I got to get a better system worked out here. Here we go. This is what we're going to work on first. So number one, serious issue first. Global warming is becoming a serious issue, which requires immediate attention. Now, before I get ahead of myself, here's what you have to do. We're going to talk about these ideas together, and you're going to tell me what do you think. When are these ideas happening? So first of all, do you agree? Or do you disagree? Do you think global warming is becoming a serious issue, which requires immediate attention? And the second thing I want you to do is I want you to go over here, and I want you to tell me the time. And when I say tell me the time, you get two options. You can say it's happening now, or it's happening in the future. Okay? Some of them will be easy, some of them will be difficult. So this is the two things that you have to do today. Tell me, what do you think? Give me your opinion about number one, and then tell me, is it a present idea or a future idea? Sometimes it's going to be clear, sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it won't be so clear. So let's start with this one here. Global warming is a serious issue, which requires immediate attention. Let's see here. Mohsen, we kind of explained a little bit earlier. We had a bit of a scheduling problem over here, so I'm very sorry that the last class didn't start on time. We had a little bit of a mix-up. It won't happen again. You got my word. We're going to be on time every time. No more of that. Okay. So very sorry about that. Hope you guys are okay and can forgive me, please. I love you. Mwah. So here we go. Okay. So here we go. What do you guys think about this? And also tell me, is it a present or a future idea? Gertrude says present. Present. Everybody's saying present. Awesome. Okay. Not as bad as the media says. Okay. I don't know. You know, it's a tricky situation, right? Some people say that it's a serious problem. We've got to do something now. I would say better safe than sorry. Like we should deal with it now. Everybody's right on that. Oh, Paul says that it's a future idea. I think this one is a present idea. Now, why is it a present idea? Is future too. Okay, global warming is becoming. So I would say, now I'm going to just say that this one is probably a present idea, right? Because this is something which is happening now. Because it's global warming, it's not a dinner on Friday night. Because it's global warming, I think the idea is present because we're talking about it now. And if I wanted to make it more of a future idea, we probably could say global warming is going to become. So in this situation, we'd probably separate the present continuous, which is becoming, and the future with going to become. So in this situation, I would say that this one is a present idea. Okay. All right. So good. Let's go on here. Number 2. So again, is it present or future? I am definitely going out on my next birthday. Okay, that one's pretty easy, right? Okay, I won't ask you this one. This one's pretty easy. It's future. Okay, we're gonna skip that one because there's not a lot of opinion. I think most people would like to go out on their birthday, right? I think everybody. Some people like to stay in and just chill out. I don't care anymore. It's my birthday. I'm 37. If I want to stay home, I'll stay home. But I like going out for other people's birthdays, so that's cool. All right, let's go to the more controversial topic, number 3. So yeah, if you were putting some answers in, number 2 was definitely future. And the reason it's future is because of that preposition phrase where it says on my next birthday. So that idea has to be future. And what is the grammar I'm using here? It's future with going to. And we're gonna talk about all these things later and kind of compare them as well. All right, so to the next more controversial one. Let's talk about Mr. Trump. We like to talk about Trump. Everybody has something to say about him. He's controversial, right? So Donald Trump is going to screw up a lot of things. And if you don't know, screw up means create problems, okay? But it's a real natural way in English that we say make mistakes or create problems or something like that. So is this idea present or future? And please tell me your opinion. Do you agree with me, or do you think maybe it won't be so bad, or what is your opinion? So give me the time and also give me your opinion. A few people coming in. We got future. Manal says future. Cesar says present. Okay. Judith says present and future, I think. Yeah. Wellington says future. Best president since Reagan. Oh, interesting. All right. I've heard that about Trump. I've heard that some of his policies in terms of saving money are actually pretty good. So it's hard to say he's a bad guy. Maybe you don't like his character, but maybe he's good in some other ways. I don't know. Just give me your opinion. No problem giving opinions. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's tricky, right? It's hard to know. How do you measure how good a presidency is? Batter says future. He has already started screwing things up. Yeah, definitely possible. So answer for time. Gertrude's still thinking on that. Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? Is he a bad man? I think a lot of people don't like his character, but is he bad for the USA? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is. So what is the time here? This one is definitely future, right? Going to. Now, if I change that, if I say Donald Trump is screwing up a lot of things, that's going to be present because it's a present continuous. But because I have that going to, it's got to be future, right? So Donald Trump is going to screw up a lot of things. Number 4 I'm going to skip because we kind of did something similar to that. Let's do another one. This is the one. I want to show you some new stuff if you haven't seen this before. Okay. Oh, this one's going to be pretty easy. So I kind of went on, it seems like I went on an environmental topic, I guess because it's the future, right? And you want to make some guesses about it. So take a look at number 6. The biggest issue in my city is overpopulation at the moment. Okay? Agree? Disagree? If it's not overpopulation, what is the biggest issue you're having in your city right now? Present. Awesome. Yeah, Jefferson, Bismarck, Johnny, Manal, you got it. It is. It's pretty easy, right? And the key word here is at the moment, right? So of course, at the moment means now. So you're right. They're all present. Okay. All right. So let's skip that. You guys got that all right. Well, maybe you've seen this before. Maybe you haven't. Now, most of the time, it's pretty easy to guess. What is the time? Is it present or future? So take a look at this one. And what do you think is the time? Is it present or future? This Saturday, the party starts at 11 p.m. So some of this stuff I'm kind of warming you up here, and we're going to get into a few more sentences and do a few comparisons. But just to show you that some grammar with present grammar can be future, right? Because we were looking at the present continuous right now, or the present continuous in the future. So when can we use that? What's the difference between those two? How do we know? That's what we're going to get into after this. Future, everybody's right. So there's one thing that you can do. Even when I use, you can see this is not kind of future grammar, right? It's just starts, like the class starts, or the party starts at 11 p.m. So you can see we actually use some grammar for the future as well, even if it's just a present simple kind of grammar. Next one, number 8. In the future, crime will be out of control. What do you think? And why did I use will? Because before I was using going to, or what else did I use? Is becoming, right? So I said you could say is becoming or is going to become. But this one I use be. So why did I use future here? So it's definitely a future idea. You got it, because will is always in the future, right? And I said in the future, so that's pretty easy. Well, yeah, I kind of like just fed this one, eh? Okay. Anyways, yeah, it was a little bit easy, but that's okay. We're just doing a little bit of a warm up right now just to get into this. Yep, you got it. So crime will be out of control, so it's a future idea. What do you guys think about that? Do you think crime will get out of control? Give me a few opinions on that as well. And now, okay, so now I'll highlight both of these, but take a look at number 9. Now, both of these are correct, right? They're both sentences you can use, but the reasons we use them in English are a little bit different. That's what we're also going to talk about today. So the number 9, I'll just get up and go home if the teacher tells us to go. This is for my class when I'm usually in class. I'll just get up and go home if the teacher tells us to go home. Future or present idea. Tricky, right? This one's a little bit trickier. What do you think about this one? Is it a present or a future idea? Are we talking about now, or are we talking about still a future idea? Future, yeah. Present, Judith says present, interesting, yeah. Future, Pilar, okay. Future. Bueller, that song. Present, okay. This one's trickier. I would say it's still a future idea, but the problem is it's something which could happen. Hello, Salim. It's something which could happen really, really quickly, and the reason for it is different from the reason for number 8, and we're going to talk about that. There's one reason we use number 8, and there's also another reason we use number 9, but the grammar is the same. Let's do one more, last one. Oh, actually, no, let's do this one as well. You don't have to say anything about this. Just tell me if it's a present or future idea. There's not really much you can say about this one. Volume's too low? Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll just bring this up a little bit. Come on. How about that? Maybe volume better? I can't actually put the volume up anymore, so I'll just try to make it closer. All right. Okay, so I'll be 1 year older. Of course, that's a future idea. And again, I'm using will again, but there's 3 different ideas that I used will today. So that's what we're going to talk. All right, so what I'm going to do is let me jump over to here. And we're going to jump into the Smrt stuff. So if you have the Smrt set up, you can go to, I believe it was 120, English 120, and we're going to Unit 5. And we're going to look at a few different reasons why we use the future here. Here we go, future 1. So let's jump in here. Okay, so I'm going to skip through here, and we're just going to jump in here. All right, so let's look at number 1. We'll have a wonderful time. That's the first idea here. Why do we use will in this situation? You've probably learned it before, but I'll need you to explain it to me. What is the reason that we use will when we're talking about the future? So let me find will on my worksheet here. Oh, there's a few here. So there we go. If you look on the worksheet, there's 4 sentences there. And I'd like you to tell me what is the reason that we use it there. Let me see. I can probably edit it on this one as well. So why? So question is, why do we use will? So here's a couple examples. It will rain next week. Okay, there's one. I'll help you. I'll give it back to you. I'll be 25 years old next year, and you will receive 2 weeks holiday every year. Okay, so the grammar is all the same. It's will. But the reason we use it is slightly different in different situations. So can you please explain a few ideas when we might use will? Future, when we're talking about a possible future, okay, could be. When the decision is right now. Gertruda says 1, there we go. So where is the decision right now? So I'm going to put that here. Let me put that in the student copy. So that way, I'll do these answers in the student copy, so I think you guys can make another copy when we're done, and that way you can have all the answers as well. So where are we here? Number 2. Decision, let's make that bigger. Decision made at the moment, or right now, whatever you want to say. Okay, so when you make a decision now, sometimes we do this in English. We didn't think of it. We make the decision at this moment. So in that situation, you would probably use will. You wouldn't use another one. I'll help you. Oh yeah, no problem, I'll help you. Okay, that's a decision now. And the other thing you should think about is which one is more popular. Is it, going to, or is it will? And we're also going to talk about that today. Okay, so that's one. Don't have open the Smrt link. How to open the Smrt link? Oh, you don't have access to 120. Ooh, okay. Well, then don't worry about it, Judith. We'll just follow on the document here, and we'll go through all the stuff on the document instead, and that'll give you the same answers. Okay, so that's one. Let's look at this one. And I think you guys had the answer already. If I say it will rain next week, why did I use will? Yeah, you're right, Mano. Will does refer to the future, but there's different reasons we use will. Some reasons are, for example, I made the decision now. Oh yeah, I'll get you a coffee, or I'll run out and get some groceries or whatever. When the decision is now, that's one reason we use will. Certain future. What else do we got here? Okay. So this one here. How about this one, guys? It will rain next week. Why do we use will? There we go. Thank you. Better. Prediction. So whenever you're making a prediction, and let me add some more information, based on, how do I say this? Make a prediction without evidence. I'm going to add this because there is a bit of a difference, and I'm going to show you the other example when we use going to as well. So I would say prediction would be something you just make you make a guess, right? You make a prediction, but you don't really have a lot of evidence. Science. Yeah, good example, right? That would be a prediction. And Ziad says, are you talking about the future uses of will and going to? Yes, we're going to do just will, Ziad, and then after that we're going to get into going to, and we're going to kind of mix them together and show you what the differences are. So if I say my team will win the championship next year, it's a prediction as well. Okay, so that's another reason. It will rain next week. I didn't check my cell phone or anything like that, but I am guessing about the rain. Then I can use will. Next one. This is an interesting one. I'll be 25 years old next year. Why do we use will here? A future fact. Okay, kind of just gave you that one there. I'll be 25 years old next year. Oh, that would be nice. Can we use shall for the future? I would say you can. I mean, you can better, but it's not common. In Canada, maybe it's more of a British expression. They might use it a little bit more. The only time I ever use the word shall is when I talk to my class. I say, shall we start? Like, let's start working. And that's the only time I ever use it. So I would say it's not super popular. It might be more of a British thing, but not too common. I think it sounds pretty formal as well. Okay, so here we go. So I see somebody just came into the chat, so let me give you a copy of this there, just so you're on track with the rest of us. Okay, there we go. Next one. So the other reason, what's the other one? You will receive 2 weeks holiday every year. Let's look at this one, number 4. You will receive 2 weeks holiday every year. What is the situation here? It's not a prediction. It's not a decision made now, because it sounds like you're working at a company. Is it a fact? Yes, it's also a fact. But there's another reason why we kind of use this will in this situation. It's a promise. Gertrudis, that's pretty good. Yeah, it could be a promise. Promise. Promise will work. And I also want to add a little bit more. So a promise and in formal written rules. Okay, so I'm just going to add that as well. So the other thing we use is for formal written rules, we also use will a lot. Like, in the school, you will be given 2 weeks holiday. We would always use will. We would never say going to. So it's a bit of a formal thing when we use will as well. Okay, so those are kind of the 4 things. Now, I'm skipping a few things, actually, because you guys said promises, and I didn't talk about promises, and I didn't talk about, refusing. There are actually other reasons to use will, but I think the best thing you can do is actually just think about them. Was the decision made now? Like promise, right? It's like, oh, can you keep a secret for me? When did you make you say, oh yeah, I won't tell anybody. When did I make that decision? It was now. Or if I decide to help someone, when did I decide? I decided now. So all those other ideas, you've probably learned them before. So when you are looking at what are the different ways to use will, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them will connect to that number 2 idea where it says a decision made now. Promise, you probably made it now. thinking about the future, some, like what will your life be like? No, that's more of a prediction. But anyways, you want to help someone, the decision was made now. You refuse something, the decision was probably made now. So a lot of those can connect to that one. And that's why I kind of glossed over that a little bit, because they're very similar. Okay, let's go up here. Let's go back up to the top here. So we're going to go back into the present simple a little bit. When do we use the present simple? Global warming is a problem. Students have issues. The party starts this Saturday and the concert is next Sunday. So what do you guys think about these two? When do we use the present simple? So let's see here. I'll make that a little smaller. Now you've probably learned, of course you've learned this is kind of basic stuff. When you first start learning English, you learn about habits and statements. Good. Global warming is a problem. Students have issues. So number one, of course, we use the present simple for habits, routines, and statements. Yeah, let's add that as well. Statements as well. Okay, and that's normal, right? That's the present simple. Like every day I wake up, I brush my teeth. No. But you can see here, we also use the present simple to talk about the future in some situations. Facts, yeah, you can add facts to that as well. You're right. Water boils, right? That's a fact. So science is good for that. And number two, you can see we actually have another situation. It's almost the same, right? Like, for example, what time does your class start? Oh, my class starts at 8:50 a.m. every day. What time does the party start this Saturday? Grammar is the same, except I just used it for the future. So the party starts this Saturday. The concert is next Sunday. So we can also use the present simple grammar with time to talk about schedules, appointments, timetables, schedules, timetables, these things. Okay? Exactly. Yeah, you got it better. Okay, so that's basically what we also use it. So you can see it's got that present simple idea, like my class starts every day at 8:50, or the bus leaves this Saturday at 7 p.m. It's almost the same, except one idea happens again and again and again. The present simple for the present. Oh, this is getting confusing. Present simple for the present and present simple for the future might only happen one time, right? The movie starts at 8, but maybe next week it's a different time. So that's a bit of a thing, but we do use both. And the other thing, which now you'll hate English, is actually you could just use future. You could say the bus is going to leave at 7 p.m. Sorry, we just like to confuse students, so that's why we just create lots of kinds of grammar. So, but anyways, if you've never seen the present simple in the future, this is why we use it. Schedules, appointments, timetables, these kinds of things. All right, next. Here we go. This one should be pretty straightforward. We've done this before. When do we use the present continuous? I am working right now, or I'm working next week. And the other thing we'll look at the differences later. We're going to look at all three kinds of grammar that we're working on today and see what's the difference. So we use the present continuous, of course, to talk about right now. And we also use the present continuous to talk about future times. Okay, so if you haven't seen that before, I'm sure most of you have seen this before, we can use both. And later we're going to talk about what's the difference between, for example, I am going to go to Turkey next year, or I am going to Turkey next year, because there might be a small difference between those two. Okay, so working right now, talk about present situations, actions, really, and I'm going to say this on talk about future, maybe I'm going to put the answer here. I'm going to put this word appointments. And we're going to come back to that word later as well, okay? And yes, good point, Judith. You can see, if you say I'm working, if you just said to somebody, hey, I'm working, it sounds like you're on the phone, you're like, yeah, sorry, I can't come right now, I'm working. Or if you said I'm working right now. So you can see, but number 2 says I'm working next week. So, good point. When you use the present continuous, you need to use some time. When you're using the present continuous for future, you need some extra words to make the sentence future. I am working next week, I am working next month, I am going to Turkey next year, this year sometime, we'll go this year. Okay, so you got it. Present continuous, if you're going to use it for future, you should put a time expression in it as well. Okay, so I'll just put that as a question. Should the present continuous with a future meaning. Have the future meaning. Have a time expression. Answer is yes. Okay? So if you want, you can always copy this document after we're done. All right, here we go. Next two. Now I want you to tell me what are the two different reasons. So both of these sentences we use going to, go, or going to buy, or going to see, or going to study, or going to rain. So the question is, when do we use these two? So I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. What's the first reason? What do you guys think? So give me an answer, throw it in the chat. What's the first reason and what's the second reason? Immediate future. I don't know if it's immediate because it's tomorrow, right? So I'm going to the gym tomorrow. So give me one word. What would your teacher tell you if they were going to say, you know, why do we use going to in English for the future? What's the reason? What's the plan? Good. Okay, that's useful. Decision. Okay, so I'm going to give you the word, and I'm going to give you a couple easy words: plan or intention. Plan or intention. And I'm going to add some more information. Decision made earlier. And when I say decision made earlier, when I spell it correctly, let's try that. Decision made earlier means I didn't make the decision now. I thought about it, you know, maybe 5 minutes, even 5 minutes ago. It's past. It's still the same. 1 second, 1 second ago. Okay, it's tricky, right? But the further, if it's in the past, when did you think about this? Was it 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago? You're going to use going to a lot of the time, right? So it's a plan or intention decision made earlier. Okay. Now I know I can see someone Batter's using the word future appointment. Now for me, the way I teach, I'm gonna separate that word intention from appointment. But honestly, they can be basically the same. But I think a native speaker might differentiate between using the present continuous and using going to in some situations. Sometimes they're exactly the same. This one, look at the second one here. Look at the clouds. It's going to rain. Good, very nice, Joe. You guys are gonna be able to teach this stuff. I think you're already teaching this stuff. You should go teach other people how to do this. Look at the clouds. It is going to rain. Prediction. So this is also a prediction. Based, and you can see the difference there, right? Look at the one below it. So prediction, and I'm going to do it just like the other one, based on evidence. So if you look at, my head's in the way. This one, get right up. It's hard to do this. That one, and then that one. You can see there's a small difference there. So if I say, look, it's going to rain, I'm looking at the clouds, and the clouds are black, right? So in that situation, we use going to. Now, this is going to be confusing. If you don't know this already or you haven't been using it for a long time, this could be a little bit confusing. You will not learn all of this in one day, so don't make yourself crazy. Like, oh my God, I have to say going to or I have to say will. The more you practice in English, the more this will become natural. But I think it's a good idea for teachers. We just kind of show you all the different ways that we use. And then hopefully if you ever make a mistake, you're like, oh, I made that mistake. I should use that. And it's not the worst mistake in the world, but it's something which will help you to fix your mistakes in the future. Okay, is everyone good with that? So look at the clouds. It's going to rain. I can see the clouds are black. But if you say it will rain next week, maybe I'm not looking at the clouds. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just kind of guessing, making a guess. So Vancouver always rains. So I can say it will rain next week, and I'll probably be right. Or I could look at my phone and say, oh, it's going to rain, right? So there's different kinds of things you can use. All right, now we're going to finally get into, let's mix them all together, and let's talk about the differences between these three. All right, so, and you tell me, because we've done a little bit of this already, and now it's your turn to explain it to me. If I said I will go to Turkey next year, what is that? Is it a prediction? Is it a decision made at the moment? Okay, right, use those words. I'm going to go to Turkey next year, and I'm going to Turkey next year. There's a bit of a difference, and I'm going to explain to you what I think would be a good way to separate these ideas. Manal says it's a prediction, or Bisma says it's an instant decision. You're right. You're both right. It could be either, actually. If you're crazy, you might say, hey, I'll go to Turkey next year. That sounds a little that sounds a little strong, right? You wouldn't want to make that kind of decision so fast. So it might be a prediction, but honestly, it could be. It depends on the situation. How about number 2? What is number 2? Or better yet, this is really the question. What's the difference between 2 and 3? Okay. I will go to Turkey next year. Okay, we decided. Prediction? Yeah, I will. I will go to Turkey next year. You could make a prediction. It could be a decision you made at the moment. It could be a promise to someone, yeah. So that's number 1. But what about number 2 and 3? Because this is really, for me, this is where there's a slight difference, a trickier difference, right? It's a little bit. Now both of these, the decision was made before, right? I'm going to Turkey next year. You didn't decide now, you decided before. And I'm going to Turkey next year. You didn't decide now, you decided before. So those two are the same in that way. So what would be the difference between number 2 and number 3? A range, Johnny's got a range. Definite plan. Manal, I think you're right, Manal. I think this one is a definite plan. So you said definite plan, I can use that. I like to use the word appointment, just so it's one word. Number 3 sounds like I have my ticket, maybe, right? I have booked my hotel. Everything is like, it's really 100%. So let me just add that. Okay, now, that for me, I think a lot of native speakers would do that. Well, in Canada, we would anyways, right? If you say, I am getting my hair cut at 3 p.m. on Friday, it's an appointment, right? So it's sure. There's a schedule. I got a hairdresser. Everything is kind of done. Same thing. So if I'm going to Turkey next year, maybe I got my ticket, got my hotels booked. Gilmara says, sounds similar to me. You're right. You're right. They are kind of similar. But I think this is a point where some people might separate the two. Now, I'm going to Turkey next year would be your plan. Would also be a plan. But maybe not as definite. So I'll just say intention. So I thought about this. Now, is it not 100%? I don't know. It's hard to explain. But I think the most important point is when you use number 3, the present continuous. It's because it's definitely sure. It's happening. There's, you know what I mean. There's the appointment is booked. But if I say, look at number 2. If I say I'm going to Turkey next year, or better yet, if I say, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym on Friday. Do I have a time? I don't know. Maybe no. Do I have a location? Well, yeah, I'm going to have a location. But maybe I don't have all the details kind of worked out. It's a plan, but it's not a definite plan. So I think that might be a small difference between using going to and number 2 and using present continuous. Present continuous is generally sure. I think that's the biggest difference there. Okay? So I don't want to get into numbers, 100%. I think the only number I want to give you is that number 3 is 100% because it's like an appointment. Like it's really, really going to happen. Okay? And this is the other thing which we talked about. I'll buy a car, or I'm buying a car. What do we got here? Yeah. Okay. So when was it? This is the other important thing about using the future, and you guys answered this already. I'll buy a car. I'm buying a car, or I'm going to buy a car. So number 1, when was the decision made? And number 2, when was the decision made? So if you kind of guess, just look at the situation. Oh, I'll buy a car. Okay. When was that decision made? Probably number 1's going to be at the moment of speaking. And number 2, just in the past. Okay? So that would be the biggest present decision. Yes, Manal, you got it. Number 1, present decision. And number 2, it's a decision you thought about earlier. Okay, cool. Now, having said all that, now if you look at these sentences, if you look at 1, 2, and 3, which is more popular in English? Do we usually say, hey, I'll buy a car? Oh, sorry, let me not use an example. Do we usually say, number 1, okay, this will be easier. Number 1 or number 2? And number 2 has 2 options. So is it number 1 or number 2? Which one is more popular in English? Because that's the last question. Which ones are the most popular to use in English? Number 2, number 2. So number 2 is correct. Okay, so if you guys didn't know that and you were using will a lot, like I will, we don't usually use will. Why? Because we don't usually make decisions at the moment, right? We always think about something. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to go get a coffee in 5 minutes. When did I make that decision? Not right now, like 5 minutes ago. So if it's 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, 2 years ago, you should use present continuous or future with going to. I'm getting a coffee at break, or I'm going to get a coffee at break, okay? And that's the thing, okay? So we don't use will all the time, but we do use the other ones a lot more often. Okay, and I think that's, so let me just add that, number 2. Number 2, because we usually think before we do something. Easy answer, right? We usually think before we do something, so that's why number 2. All right, so now you've done this all, and I would like you guys to do your own sentences. So can you guys please use all the ideas that we used today? So go back, go up to here, and make some sentences like I made here. And there's a couple of, so for you guys who are pretty good at this already, use those other ones at the bottom, likely to, predicted to. Those are also future ideas using the present, but they also have a future idea, and you can use those as well. So I would like you guys to practice. So go down here, go to the writing and speaking section, and go here. And I would like you guys to write your own sentences using the different forms of present and future. Make sentences that we can talk about, or not, that's fine. You can just make some sentences as well, but it's nice to have a sentence we can discuss. You should also write the time next to your sentence, okay? So if I want to use will, you know, what could I use? Okay, it's Vancouver. So it will rain tomorrow. I don't even have to look at my phone. It'll rain tomorrow, and I'm going to contract it as well. It'll rain tomorrow. And that, of course, is going to be future time. So can you guys please practice writing the difference, making some sentences about yourself, about your life, using the different styles of future, using will, using going to. Saeed says, can I use single words? What do you mean, Saeed? What do you mean by single words? Okay, so it's your turn. So I'd like you guys to make some sentences. So I'm going to make the first one. It'll probably rain all day tomorrow because it's Raincouver. We have a nickname for Vancouver, and it's Raincouver. And guess why? All right, so there we go. I made my prediction sentence. So we're going to get a couple of yours, and we're going to post them in here and see what you guys had to say as well. So try it out. Try will. Try present continuous. Try going to. Try the present simple. Try using everything in different forms of future. Okay, so let's see. Manal's got one here. Let's add that. And again, I might ask you a few questions just to see why. Why did you choose that one? So Manal says, I'm going to eat dinner later tonight. Okay, cool. Intention. And I will travel to Vancouver tomorrow. Oh, interesting. So why? So Manal, maybe you can answer this one. I think you're right. Why will here? So I want to know why will here. And I think your sentence is right, but I would like to know why did you use will here? Because you could say I'm going to, or I'm traveling to Vancouver, right? You could make it like an appointment. So why did you use will there? Maybe you can answer that one for me. Let's see here. Salua? Thinking of looking for a job. Good, so you use the present continuous. And again, is that a present idea or a future? So I would like you guys, don't forget to put your time when you guys are making your sentences, because actually sometimes it can be confusing, right? Are you thinking of looking for a job at the moment, or are you thinking of looking for a job next month, right? So please put your time, maybe just a P or an F. So for example, for my sentence, I'm going to put my future here. Okay, and here. So this is a good question here. But Manal, for your sentence, you know, I will travel to Vancouver. Remember, one of the reasons we use will is because it was a future fact. And if that's a fact, like a fact, then you could use will. Or the other option you could say is I am traveling, using present continuous. All right, let's do a few more. Pilar says, she will be absent from class tomorrow. Okay, so why will there, Pilar? Why did you use will? She will be absent. Was it a prediction, or was it something more of a formal way? which could be correct as well. Usually it's for writing, but just sounding formal, sometimes we use will. What else we got here? Judith says, I'm going to wash my dress. I'll open a can of Coke. I am listening to Kent's live class. Very nice. Going to wash my dress. So your plan, I'll open a can of Coke. Open a can of Coke. So I'm going to grab this one from Judith just to show you guys. Maybe this one is okay. So Judith, why did you use I'll here? So same question. Why will here? You might be right, but I would just like the explanation. Oops. So I'm going to wash my dress. I'll open a can of Coke. I am listening, so I'm just going to correct that there. E-N. And always listening to. We need that preposition to Kent's live class. Good. Okay, so same question. Why will here? What else we got here? So Al Musawi, Muhammad says, I cut maybe onions, and put them on the frying pan. Present. Okay, yes, you do. That's one thing you can do. Okay, what else we got here? Gilmara says, I'm going to go to the United States next month. Okay. So again, maybe Gilmara's sentence, she says, I'm going to go to the United States next month. Does she have a ticket, right, or not? Because I'd say if you had a ticket, I personally, I'm not saying you're wrong, it's your sentence is totally fine. I just might use the present continuous. Like if it's sure, 100%, I'm going to say I'm going to the United States next month. Good. Johnny's got one. I feel very angry. I think I'll have something to eat. So again, that's perfect, right? Using will because you just decided at that moment. Bisma says she's going to make a cup of coffee for you, and I sense you may not like it. Okay, could be. Yeah, she's going to make a cup of coffee for you. Good. Let's see here. Where are we else here? Okay, so Lewis, so you meant the future. I'm thinking of looking for a job. Okay, then that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Looking for a job next month. Where else we at here? Lots of things coming in. Ahmed says, I'm going to travel to Paris next week, or I am traveling to Paris next week. Which one is correct or more accurate? They're both correct, right? This is the tricky thing. The only thing is that if you have your ticket and if it's 100%, then I think a lot of Canadians anyways, probably, and Americans as well, we might use the present continuous. We might say, I am traveling to Paris next week. Like I got my ticket, I got my hotels, it's done. And if you say I'm going to travel to Paris next week, again, it's the same thing. One could be the other, but one sounds a little bit stronger than the other. So I think that's the only real difference. We're using the present continuous. It sounds stronger. Okay, so it is cloudy. It will going to rain. Mohammed, don't mix those two together. Just choose one. You can say it. You could probably say, because it is cloudy, you can see something. You want to say it is going to rain. It'd be better. But don't mix will and going to together because it's the same idea, both future. Batter says, next year I will be 30 years old. Okay, future fact. Awesome. Polar, I'm going to visit a friend this afternoon. Good. Intention. Awesome. Thushara says, I'm going to go participate in my graduation ceremony next month. Good. Polar says, they have the feeling their company is going to expand. Okay, so intention to expand. Good. What we got next? I'll be 20 years old tomorrow. Well, happy birthday. Happy almost birthday. I don't have a ticket. No. I am going to look forward. Saeed says, I'm going to look forward. Maybe I'm going to look forward to, like you're excited about something, Saeed. Pilar says she's going to prepare some cookies for us in a few minutes. Good. All of these are working. And you guys can see, sometimes you can use both, right? Sometimes you can use will because it's, let's say it's a prediction. And sometimes you can use going to because, I don't know, it's sometimes they can honestly be both. So you might hear me break the rules every now and then. But maybe not breaking the rules. You're kind of following the rules, but sometimes you can use will or going to, and they're both correct because they have different reasons that they could be correct. So sometimes you don't have to worry about it. I would say the biggest thing you should be careful about is using will too much. Don't use will too much because we don't use will so often in English. So Batter says, I'm going to buy a new car if I manage to save the price or maybe get a better price. Batter. Darwin says, I'll try to write an answer. Good. Pilar says, our class says, okay, starts at 6:30 p.m. Yes, I believe if that's 6:30 p.m. your time. Same for me, it's 3:30, so I'm guessing you guys are 3 hours ahead. This is Brazil, right, Pilar? 3 hours ahead. So yes, it starts, correct, you got it, 6:30 p.m. El Musawi says next Sunday we leave Morocco at maybe 12 a.m. Next Sunday we leave Morocco. Probably future, El Musawi. Next Sunday, right? Because you said next Sunday we leave Morocco at I guess 12 a.m. So it's got to be a future idea because next Sunday. So Mosen says, how about would and shall? Okay, so let me give you one sentence. So just to explain about shall, like I said, I'll be honest, I never use shall. The only time I ever use shall is when I say to my students, shall we start? That's the only thing, like start the class, shall we start? And that's the only time I ever use shall. You'd have to ask a British person, how often do they use shall? But I think even in British English, I think it's still really formal, like they don't use it so much. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, unless you want to use that, that's okay. We definitely use that. Where we got here? And as for would is the past of will, right? So for example, he said he would join us. Now, so would in this situation is will in the past. He said yesterday he would join us. So again, we have to use, when we're using reported speech, we have to use the past. So it is will in the past. Or, if you wanted to, he said he was going to join us. So now there's a bit of a difference there between the going to, like we studied today, or the will also. So you got two options as well. Okay, going to join, going to go. Awesome. Oh, sorry, Polar, Colombia. Sorry, my mistake. Colombia. Which one is more popular, gonna or going to? When we're speaking English, gonna. I think we speak quickly, right? Everybody in your language, you speak quickly, we speak quickly. So we want to say, I'm gonna go. What does gonna go mean? So gonna equals going to. So this one is popular, very popular, right? Because you could say, I'm going to travel next week, which means I'm going to travel next week. Or if I wanted to, I could use the present continuous. I could say, I'm traveling next week, like it's sure. Okay, so yeah, so gonna is going to. That's what it is, and that's why it's very popular. We use it all the time. Are there any other modal verbs we can use in the future, Batter says? So Batter, the thing about modals, you can use all the modals in the future. So for example, I might be hungry. Now, I might be hungry next week. I should go to school. Now, I should go to school next week. So all the modal verbs, and that's we've kind of done modal verbs. I think we did a lesson earlier on modal verbs. So maybe go back and check that one. I'm trying to remember if we did it in the past or the present or future, or maybe present and future. But all modal verbs can be future or present. So that's easy. You just need more words. Next week, next year, in the future, and then it's automatically becomes future. Judith says, my husband's company is going to move to a new place. Judith, don't forget your preposition. But my housebound, my husband, maybe my housebound, maybe autocorrect there, is not happy about it because the commute time will grow. Okay, Judith, I'm going to grab your sentence here just to add a few more things. All right, so my husband's company is going to move to a new place, but, and I think this should be not housebound, but husband is not happy about it. In English, we always have something, like an object about it. It was, I didn't like it. We always have something there because the commute time will grow. I don't know if we would use grow. We might say maybe increase, or the commute time will be more. Maybe just an easier way. Okay, there we go. All good there. All right, how are we doing here? So almost always says when we can use present when we talk about series of scheduled events in the future. Yeah, so you can use the present simple, right? When you talk about, honestly, any schedule, right? So if you say my class starts at 8:50 a.m. or the movie starts at 8 p.m. on Friday, which is a future idea, it's so you can use the present simple to talk about any schedules, any times in the present or in the future. So yes, yeah, you can definitely use it. Judith will be growing. Will be more. I think we use growing for. We don't usually use growing for time. We might say growing for like literally getting bigger, but unfortunately we don't use time with growing. So increasing, the time is increasing, the time is maybe increase, yeah? Maybe be longer, be more, or increase might be all ones we could use for time. Where we got here? Batter says, gonna is informal, can't use it in writing. Correct, Batter. So just use gonna for speaking. We never use gonna for, I've seen students write like, no, don't do that. No gonna in writing, just for speaking. So anytime you see like some weird contraction like that, gonna, wanna, I'm sure there's more, just use it for speaking. It's just for, because whenever you speak, you want to speak quickly, right? So whenever you see, like, we don't say I will, we say I'll. We don't say I am going to, we say I'm gonna, right? So anytime you're listening to speaking, it's going to be shorter because we like to say everything faster. But when you do writing or you're being more polite, everything gets a lot longer. Okay. All right, they're going to go with us. So Pilar says they are going to go with us. Okay, so it's their plan because it is too late for them. And T-O-O, it is too late for them. Bisma says commute time will be longer. Yes, you could use the same thing, will be more or longer. I agree. I think yours is better, actually, Bisma. Commute time will be longer. Sounds good to me. So Mosen says, how do we mix should with future? So same thing as all the other modal verbs. Might, may, should, have to. You just add a future time expression. So for example, I should clean my house. Okay, sounds like now. I should clean my house next week. Oh, done. Easy. So actually modal verbs are super easy. All you have to do is add a few words which give the idea of future time, and then you're done. I might clean my house next week. I should clean my house next week. I have to clean my house next week. I could clean my house next week. All of those can be future just by adding a couple little words. And that's the same as the present continuous, right? I am traveling, sounds like right now. Or I am traveling next week. Okay, sounds like next week. What else we got here? Okay, and I think that's pretty good. Amasai says, can you give the rules of present? Shoulda, woulda. Okay. So Al-Musawi, the rules of present. The present is just something which happens. I think this is what you want. The present simple has something which happens again and again. So, I wake up every day, go to work, eat lunch, go home, whatever. Right? Present, routines, and habits. And I wrote that up here. So if you guys are done, if you guys want all the answers that we did together, you can always go back and copy this document one more time, and it will have all the work that we talked about today, and that's going to be better for you guys. So you can take that with you and remember all the rules. The last thing I'm going to do with you guys. Oh, and Salua, what you're asking about shoulda, woulda, past. Should have, would have, those two sounds when you say, oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, that means past. All right, and the last thing I want to show you guys before we're done here is just when we use questions. Now similar. All right, so here's 4 questions. Or sorry, questions and answers. Let's see here. So there's one question. No, there's only one question. Where are you going to eat tonight? So I'd say this is gonna, right? This is the one we use most of the time. Where are you going to eat tonight? And you got 3 different answers, and the student, or you, any speaker, can choose their answer. Student number 2 says, I'm going to eat at home tonight. So the question was an intention, and the answer was also an intention. Student number 3 says, I'm having dinner with a friend. They have an appointment already. So let me make it more future. I'm having dinner with a friend at 3. They have an appointment, so they gave an appointment answer, right? And student number 4 says, I think I'll order pizza tonight. And they made the decision now. So normally we ask the question, and the common questions would be this one. This one we use all the time. What are you going to eat tonight? Or I could say, what are you eating tonight? And both of those are correct. So I would say whenever we ask questions in English, it's kind of the same. We don't use will very much unless the question is strange or the question requires that the decision is made now. But the question could be, where are you eating tonight, or where are you going to eat tonight? And then your answer can be anything you want. Okay, so if you look at these, I'm saying do a lot. Better stop that. What kind of work are you going to do in the future? Intention question. And so now you guys can give me any answer you want. You can use will, you can use present continuous, or you can use going to, depending on your answer. If you're making a prediction, then use will. If you're making a decision now, use will. If you thought about it before and it's 100% sure, use the present continuous. So you can use anything you want. Let's see here. Mosa, and by the way, can we use could in the future? Could isn't related to the past. Could can be past. For example, when I was young, I could play basketball really well, and now I can't. But you could go to that restaurant next week. That's future. So could, unfortunately, can be a past idea, but it can also be a present or a future idea. So unfortunately, that's a confusing one. Could be confusing. Gilmara, to define the purpose of a science research, they use present time too. Gilmara, define the purpose of a present. Yeah, probably right. It sounds like very formal writing, or almost maybe like a fact. Maybe that's why they use present. The study, the study proposes to yada 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 and blah blah blah. It just sounds more formal. It's like it's a fact maybe, and maybe that's why they use it in the present simple as well. No crazy questions, Mosan. No crazy questions. Okay, so I think this is everything I wanted you guys to go through today. Just a big review, like all the different kinds of future. Now there are more kinds of future. We also have the future perfect, which we don't use all the time, but it does exist. And we have the future continuous. And if you guys want, so today we only did the future simple. No INGs. So the future continuous would be tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will be teaching my class. Be teaching. Not I will teach my class, but I will be teaching my class. That would be the next step. So if you guys are interested in that, you've learned all this future and you want a little extra practice, we could always do that on the next time, where we'll take all these ideas and we'll change it from the simple I will go to I will be going, or I will be eating, or I will be studying, or whatever you want to use. So let me know, maybe give me some feedback in the comments if you want to do a little bit more future. We could introduce a few more things next week. But I think that's everything I wanted to go through. If you guys have any questions, I'll hang around for a little bit and answer. But this was a good introduction just to the future and how many different kinds of future there are. And I think the biggest thing that you need to just take from today is don't use will too often, because in English we really don't use it a lot. I know a lot of students, when they come to Canada for the first time, it's will, and we have to kind of break that habit because we don't really use it all the time, because normally we think about things. We don't make crazy decisions at the moment for everything. We usually think about them before, and that's probably the biggest reason why we use going to or the present continuous. Okay, so I think that's it for me. I hope you guys found the class useful. If you have any comments or suggestions for me, please send them in the chat. Look for feedback or any topics you guys are interested in. We'll try to create some classes which will be useful for you guys. Other than that, good to be back. Glad to interact with you guys again. Be the same class time next week. So this is 3:30 p.m. Vancouver time till 4:30 p.m. So whatever that is for you guys. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Hope it's an even better week. And we'll see you guys next time. Keep it smart. And we'll see you next time, guys. Have a great day.